Hi everyone, I'm John C. Morley, the host of the JMOR Tech Talk Show and Inspirations for Your Life. Well, hey guys, it is John C. Morley here, serial entrepreneur. Welcome to the JMOR Tech Talk Show. It is Friday. This is June 20th, 2025. If you are watching us live, well, welcome here, guys. Thanks so much for popping in. We have a great show for you here tonight. And yes, AI gets a library card, and that's not even the craziest part of tonight's show. This is series 4, and it is, ladies and gentlemen, in case you're wondering, it's show 25. Can you believe that we're at show 25? I know, I can't believe that. All right. So if you're thirsty, feel free to go over the kitchen and get something delicious, as I know you probably will want to do. Get something delicious, and that'll be pretty cool. It could be hot, it could be cold, it could be a snack, whatever you basically want. We will get this show kicked off. Hey, do check out fans believemeachieve.com for more of my amazing, of course, inspiring creations. I hope you will definitely check that out. All right. That's believemeachieve.com. So a big welcome to all of you that are new here at the JMOR Tech Talk Show. We are every Friday. Of course, if you miss anything, this show or anything else, you can go to believemeachieve.com for more of these shows and more of my other amazing, inspiring creations. So definitely check that out. If you're coming back, well, welcome back, my fellow friends and colleagues. Thanks so much for supporting the show. Really do appreciate that. Welcome, everyone, to this episode of the JMOR Tech Talk Show with me, John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur, podcast coach and host, video producer, and many other things. And each week, I break down the biggest tech stories and trends that are shaping our world, from groundbreaking AI breakthroughs to epic industry rivalries. This episode delivers 14 must-know updates, combining cutting-edge innovation with real-world impact, so you can stay informed and inspired, whether you're a tech pro or just curious. I'm here to make it simple, relevant, and exciting. So you ready, guys? Let's dive in. Well, Nvidia's AI cloud revolution starts in Germany, if you didn't know. Nvidia is leading a bold new wave in AI by launching its first industrial AI cloud in Germany, aiming to transform the automotive, pharmaceutical, and robotics industries. Wow, that's a tongue twister. Say that a few times fast. This massive initiative includes 20 AI factories and a tenfold increase in Europe's computing power. Now, Nvidia's partnership with the AI startup Mistral pushes the envelope with multilingual models and quantum computing research, basically marking a pivotal moment for European tech sovereignty and global AI leadership. And I think that's a really, really big thing for anyone, no matter where you are in the world. And so at the Vivatech conference in Paris, Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang announced the company's first industrial AI cloud platform in Germany, aimed at transforming the industries like, as I said, the automotive, pharmaceuticals, and others, by integrating AI with robotics. Now, as part of an aggressive European expansion, Nvidia will build quite a few AI factories to boost its computational capacity in Europe tenfold within 2 years, and collaborate with AI leader Mistral. The initiative includes support for multilingual AI model development and drug discovery. Huang emphasized the urgency of sovereign AI and hinted at quantum computing breakthroughs ahead. So that's just one thing, guys. And I think it's amazing how, all this stuff is starting to transform, our world and, where it's going. I think that's a real amazing thing. And I hope that you will appreciate, where it's going. And ladies and gentlemen, the Nintendo Switch 2 sets a record. 3.5 million. Now, that's not dollars. That's 3.5 million units were sold in just 4 days. Nintendo really crushed the expectations with the Switch 2, selling with the 3.5 million units in just the 4 days, making it the fastest selling console in company history. Wow. Featuring a large screen, stunning graphics, and new games like Mario Kart World, the Switch 2 is redefining gaming both at home and on the go. Nintendo projects right now that they'll have 15 million sales by year end, building in addition to their original Switch's monumental legacy. And that's pretty cool. So, when Nintendo had announced that its newly launched Switch 2 had become the company's fastest selling console ever, people didn't believe it. The upgrade device features, as I said, a larger screen and many other things, but with Nintendo forecasting 15 million Switch 2 units being sold by the end of the fiscal year, that's pretty amazing. And on the legacy of the original Switch, which had only sold 152 million units globally since 2017. Nintendo Switch 2 smashes the record as the company's fastest-selling console, and I think it really had people crazed because they had to wait online and they couldn't get it right away. So I think this was definitely a really, really big thing. And ladies and gentlemen, the Supreme Court lets Elon's Dodge, I should say, it's really a Dodge, tap the U.S. social data. In a controversial ruling, the Supreme Court cleared Elon Musk Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, to access sensitive Social Security Administration data. Overruling privacy objections from unions and civil rights advocates, this decision ignites critical debates on government transparency, individual privacy, and the limits of data use, all while temporarily shielding DOGE from freedom of information requests. I think this is absolutely bonkers. It's crazy that they're allowing this to happen. I don't think this should be allowed. I know many companies are saying, well, everyone has access to data, so we might as well just allow it. Well, that doesn't mean it's right. If one person's jumping off the Brooklyn Bridge, does that mean everyone should jump off? No, it does not mean that at all. But I think sometimes people get stuck in doing things for the wrong reason. And the Supreme Court, like I said, cleared DOGE for Social Security data. And the U.S. Supreme Court ruled in favor of the Trump administration's Department of Government Efficiency. That's what DOGE is. It allows it to access sensitive Social Security Administration data, despite objections from unions and privacy advocates. The conservative majority court lifted a lower court injunction enabling DOGE, founded by Elon Musk, to pursue its goal of modernizing government systems and combating waste and fraud. Now, the decision faced strong dissent from liberal justices, as you would imagine, who warned it risks Americans' privacy rights. The ruling also temporarily shields DOGE from freedom of information requests as ongoing litigation continues, highlighting the escalating legal and political tensions surrounding data access and government transparency. Now, ladies and gentlemen, here's what's going to happen. This is what I predict, okay? They're going to let DOGE go through and do everything that they think is great. And then once a major lawsuit hits, guess what? Then everybody's going to back and be like, whoa, wait a minute. I didn't know, we didn't know, and then it's going to change the rules, right? That's always how things happen, just like what's happening with Google, right? That's no surprise. And number 4 for this week, hot on the burners, is Disney. Yes, the Hollywood, Disney, and Universal go to war with the AI art generator. Hollywood's biggest studios have launched a landmark lawsuit against who? Midjourney, accusing the AI art platform of copyright infringement for creating unauthorized images of iconic characters. This is big. This battle highlights the growing tension between creative industries and AI-generated content, raising urgent questions about intellectual property, artistic rights, and the future of AI in entertainment. Definitely going to change what's happening in our world. So Disney Universal have started the case of the AI image generator lawsuit of Midjourney for copyright infringement. And it's accusing it of creating unauthorized copies of their iconic character, like Darth Vader and the Boss Baby. The studios argue that Midjourney's AI outputs are not sufficiently transformative and constitute blatant plagiarism, ignoring demands to prevent use of their intellectual property. This is the first major lawsuit, guys, and there's going to be more, by Hollywood giants against an AI company, highlighting growing tensions over AI use of copyrighted works, scraped from the internet without licenses. The case could significantly impact the future of AI in the entertainment industry and copyright law. I mean, that whole concept, right? I think the fact that, AI has its good points and it has its bad points. But unfortunately, there are going to be bad actors out there that are going to use AI to exploit the world. I mean, we know this. We've seen them trying to do this with passwords and so many other things. So I will keep you in the loop of what's going on with Disney and definitely, this whole thing and Universal. But I think it's going to bring this to a head. And I think Midjourney is going to get into a lot of trouble. And I think it's going to set a precedence going forward for other conditions. Number 5, would you date based on your browser history? What the heck is this about? A new experimental dating site uses AI to match singles based on their browser histories rather than curated profiles or photos. By analyzing recent search data, it creates browsing personality profiles, aiming for, what we'll say, a little more raw, more authentic connection. But I don't know if this is a good idea. This fresh approach challenges traditional dating norms, but also raises significant privacy concerns and debates about digital identity. Yeah, I think this is going to be a problem. So this experimental new dating site matches singles based on just the browser histories. And it is experimental, okay? And basically using AI to create a browsing personality profile from users' most recent 5,000 searches. So not all your searches, but just 5,000 of them. It was developed by artist Dries Deporter. The site aims to offer a more honest and unfiltered way to connect by revealing private online interests and behaviors instead of polished photos or bios. Users upload their browsing data via a browser extension and receive matches based on shared online curiosities. So they do have to admit to upload. It doesn't just do it automatically. Showing some fun facts rather than their actual search details. While still small and facing privacy concerns, the site challenges traditional dating norms by exploring if the quirks in people usually hide should be a little more to the surface or will bring them closer together. So I think this is one of these fads. Is this going to catch on? I don't know. I can tell you right now, guys, I don't think this is a great idea. I think it's going to raise some concerns. I think it's going to raise a lot of concerns. I think it's going to be something that's going to, I don't want to say scare people. I think it's going to make people, think twice, right? Twice because they don't know if this is a good idea or if this is a bad idea. And, everybody tries different things, right? But I just don't know if this is going to be great. I mean, a browser to do dating history on profiles. I mean, I don't know. That could be an issue, right? And my question, ladies and gentlemen, is this information going to be secured properly, or is this going to be more of let's say a privacy issue? So it's a new website that will let you find your dating person by your browser history. They say it's experimental. A lot of people are saying it's scary. But I don't know if people are really ready for this. It's changing the world of online dating. Okay. And I just feel that this could be a very, very big problem, right? And the reason I say this is that I don't know if they're doing things ethically. You don't know that either. I mean, would you use a site like that? So when you go to the website, first of all, and I have all these security blocks, it says right on my system that it's in a category called security risk spam URL. And because it's very new and it seems like it could be a problem. There are lots of sites. So the question is, does this work? Well, don't know. It's too new. It's too new. And again, the fact that it can match you based on your last 5,000 most recent searches. I don't know. I feel that this could get exploited in a lot of ways. The website's not on an ethical site, so that's a problem. You can't just get there very easily. I don't know. In case you're wondering what the site was, it was just browser.dating or something like that. And I have a big concern because I don't know if they're doing everything they should be doing. Okay. When I look up the site, okay, I see that it's currently registered under Cloudflare, which is not a big deal. And then I look at some of the other information. It is privacy protected, which of course it is. And it's protected under Cloudflare. So they're obviously not showing any of their information. So that's interesting. If you have to complain, you got to complain to ICANN with the form here that they have. I don't know. I think the fact that they're not being transparent right out of the gate already has me concerned, and that they might be a bad thing. But that's just speculation, okay? It raises privacy concerns, things about digital identity, and how are they coming up with your digital footprint? I mean, yes, you are giving permission to upload your browser history, but what are they going to do with that browser history? So I think there's going to be more coming on with this. So I will keep you in the loop about that. Number 6, guys, a blind gamer, Ross Minor, is changing the industry as we speak. Ross Minor unfortunately lost his sight as a child, but has become a pioneering gamer, content creator, and industry consultant. His work not only inspires, but also drives important conversations on accessibility and inclusion in the gaming world, showing that disability doesn't limit passion or expertise, and it encourages developers to build games everyone can enjoy. I mean, this sounds like something very interesting, right? But so I said, Ross Minor, as I said, lost his sight at age 8, but has become a dedicated gamer, running popular YouTube and Twitch channels and consulting for major game studios. His story isn't just about inspiration, guys. It's about passion and expertise reshaping how gamers with disabilities engage in the gaming world. You know, there's so many things in our world where we say, you know, you can't do this. I'm going to give you a perfect example. I'm not going to give you the name of the company for security and privacy reasons. So I was working on a scouting project. Many of you guys know that I became an Eagle Scout in May 1983. And I threw a holiday party for a local company. And so this local company was an organization, a not-for-profit, that provided jobs to disabled people, handicapped people that could not hold a regular job. And they would go out to different companies, whether it was pharmaceutical, whether it was any kind of manufacturing company, and they bring these jobs inside their mini production facility. they would have machines that would work on air or electric, and they would be very safe. You'd have to hit, two hands to get it to start. And so they would be doing this, and they had a very strict regimen. The fact that strict for them, but not strict for other people, they would allow them their breaks, but they were also making sure that they did work. Now, their typical work day would only be like 4 or 5 hours. It wouldn't be very long. But they were very strict. If you missed work or something like that, it was very, very strict. So I remember that I wanted to do something nice, but something that was going to be remembered for years to come, instead of just painting, the numbers of your address on the curb, or building a park bench. Even though that's a nice thing, I wanted to do something that would live in people's memories forever and ever and ever and ever. So I made friends with this one gentleman. I could tell you his name. His first name's okay to say. His first name was Gene. And I would come and I would talk to him for a while. I would learn about what he's doing, and I became friends with him. And so after I did this, I realized that I would like to do something for them. So I decided to do a party. He was really excited. And so I did a holiday party at his workplace there, social workplace. They did social workplace, the same place. And so I got a Santa Claus, obviously, and I got different things. We had to get balloons, like, the helium for the balloons. So one of the companies that provided the gases, the helium, I called them up. I told them what I was doing, and they said, we would love to help you. I said, that's great. They said, we're very supportive of what you're doing, especially because our owner has a real heart for this. And I said, well, that's great. Yes, I don't know if you've been to our facility, but our owner has a son that's disabled and working from a wheelchair. And anything we can do to help disabled people, he's like right in line to do that right away. Wow. So I went there, and his son was working in a wheelchair, and they didn't charge me 1 penny for the helium gas. I was so grateful. And so I got the couple tanks of helium. And the neat thing about this was, I just had to bring them back. I didn't have to pay them anything. I just had to get the balloons from, I think at that time, Party City was still in business. Now they're not anymore. And I also went to many of the pharmaceutical places to get, gifts for the ladies and the gentlemen. But my point is, what appeared to be a disability to some people actually became a greatest strength to others. So, yes, he worked from a chair, but he was amazing, his son, how he ran that company, how he did all the stuff from a chair. And so what I want to say is this: when we talk about diversity, inclusion, and no discriminating for race, religion, orientation, creed, color, or disability, because disability is something people can be discriminated against as well. And when I saw the smile on people's faces with that party, with the food and the cake and Santa, it was amazing. It was really, really amazing. So just because somebody may not have 2 arms or 2 legs, or whatever it is, there's still a lot that can contribute to the world, or even 2 eyes, right? All right. Number 7, Google quietly, and I say this very apropos, Google quietly drops 9 smart home features. Here's what's new. Without much fanfare, Google released 9 new features in its Home app, enhancing smart home control. Highlights include picture-in-picture support for Nest cameras on Google TV, AI-powered automations via the Gemini app, and more intuitive device management features. Now, these updates make connected living smoother and smarter, appealing to tech-savvy homeowners ready for the next level of automation. And I think that's an important thing to realize. So I say the reason Google's doing this is they're getting hit every way in the yin yang, right? Because the court is just trying to do everything they can to them. And I'm not saying that they don't deserve what's being handed to them. Google's been a little bit underhanded, and not to go into that again, but I've talked about that on other episodes. So I always say karma's gonna pay back. Whether you do good, whether you do bad, karma pays back all the time. It just might take karma a few days, a few weeks, a few months, a few years, even a decade to catch up. Karma does catch up. So Google, like I said, soft launched this 9 set of new home app features. And the home app, which is now available mostly in public preview. As I said, the picture-in-picture, support for Nest cams, the AI-powered smart home controls via Gemini. And the other thing was easier navigation through camera footage. And the update also improves automation setup with the presence sensing using phone location, Nest Solely sensors, integrating Nest Protect Smoke and Seal alerts directly into the home app, and expands smart support for third-party Matter-enabled smart locks. Additionally, users can customize favorites with new tiles, control devices via web browsers, and test the new home summary widget on Pixel phones. But I think the issue here is that Google's doing this because, let's face it, they're getting hit really hard with the money they're going to have to pay out, and they might have to break up their company. So they're trying to figure out how they can save their company because, let's face it, guys, they've done some wrong things. And they're going to need to pay the piper. And I don't mean $5 or $100. I'm talking a lot of money. So this is something I hope, many of you will appreciate. And I see eventually, and this is probably something very interesting. People ask me, will the Google search engine be replaced? And that's a good question. And I think the answer to that, it's very dominated, but it's changing to AI advancements. They say it's unlikely that the Google search will be completely replaced in the near future. Instead, the future of search is likely to involve a combination of traditional search and AI-driven results, unless the Supreme Court says, you know what, Google, you cannot be in the search world anymore. I think it would change things. It would give businesses an edge because Google just decides whatever they want, and they don't really have a reason for why they do things. So I have a little bit of a problem with the way they do things, just to be, quite honest with you there. And another interesting topic I want to share with you is Apple's liquid glass look is supposedly stunning, they say. But where's the AI fire? Apple unveiled a sleek liquid glass design alongside the AI updates at the WWDC. The WWDC was the convention. And you might be asking me, what is that? So that's the Apple's Worldwide Developer Conference. And that happened, by the way, on June 9th. So that was pretty interesting. But critics are saying that the AI tools are falling short of what they would expect to be truly revolutionary. While the aesthetics, the dazzle, the tech enthusiasts, and the investors alike are waiting for Apple to push harder in AI innovation to catch up with competitors in this fast-evolving field, they haven't done it yet. And I think that's what we're all waiting for, right? Is Apple going to go bold into this world, or are they just going to tiptoe? So we're going to have to wait and see. Are they going to be innovative, or are they going to just be a fad and flop? So the presentation comes at a critical moment now, and as Apple faces mounting pressure to establish itself as a leader in the AI world with technology, having so far struggled to convincingly showcase its advancements to both consumers and Wall Street, I think we're going to have to wait and see, what is, and that's the question, what is Apple's AI glass? And Apple's AI-powered glass is their term for AI-powered smart glasses. They're expected to be released toward the end of 2026. These glasses are going to feature cameras, microphones, and speakers, allowing them to analyze the environment and interact with the user through Siri voice assistant. They're also expected to handle tasks like phone calls, music playback, live translations, and turn-by-turn directions. But is it really going to be the best, or is it going to disappoint us? I know, I've got to tell you guys, I have the Ray-Ban stories, and I have to be quite honest with you. I was really gung-ho with them. I've done some stuff with them, but I have not been overly in love with them. A couple things. One, I don't like the fact that they said it would work on all the apps, but they lied. It does not work on TikTok. It only works on Meta apps, which would be Facebook and Instagram. So that was a lie. Even a person in the store told me that it would work, and guess what? It didn't. I paid for the most expensive glasses, which are the ones that actually go dark when there's UV, and when you come inside, like a minute or so, they go back to clear. You only get 10 minutes of video recording time, and you only get 30 minutes of streaming time. So I don't know, guys. I got to tell you, I was disappointed. Yes, they're kind of cool, but it's going to compete directly with Meta's smart glasses. Beyond basic functionality like phone calls and music control, the glasses are rumored to offer, like I said, the live translation and navigation assistance. It's nice, but I can't see myself getting too excited over them from what I'm being told so far. And number 9, guys, Mr. Elon Musk's X. Well, yes, it goes down recently. Thousands were affected nationwide. Many users experienced a major outage on Elon Musk's social media platform, Twitter, or today we call it X for the name of today, disrupting posts and communication across the U.S. The downtime sparked questions about platform stability amid intense competition and major tech investments, shining a spotlight on the challenges faced by high-profile social networks. But what does all this mean? So with Elon Musk's network, the site reported that was the downdetector.com, over 6,700 users submitted complaints by 6:07 p.m., the day it went down. Although the actual number of impacted users may actually be higher, Down Detector gathers data from various sources to track such disruptions. The issue drew attention amid other major global business headlines, including Amazon's $13 billion investment in Australia's data infrastructure and Boeing's revised 20-year jet demand forecast. So the question is, why, and this is probably the big question everybody wants to know, why, what caused X to go down? Do we know? Well, according to Mr. Elon Musk, he said, and I quote, it was a massive cyber attack that disrupted X actually last week, Monday, and pointed to IP addresses originating in the Ukraine area as a source of the attack. Security experts say that's not how it works. So the network suffered intermittent outages on Monday, last week, actually. And Musk said in an initial X post that the attack was perpetrated by either a large coordinated group and or a country. In a post on Telegram, a pro-Palestinian group known as Dark Storm team took credit for the attacks within a few hours. Later on that Monday, though, Musk claimed in an interview on Fox Business Network that the attacks had come from the Ukraine IP addresses. Now, web traffic analysis experts who tracked the incident very profusely on that Monday were quick to emphasize the type of attacks X saw and faced was a DDoS, distributed denial of service attack. And they are launched by coordinated armies of computers or a botnet, basically pushing a target of junk traffic in an attempt to overwhelm and take down its systems. So botnets are typically dispersed around the world, generating traffic with geographically diverse IP addresses, and they can include mechanisms that make it harder to determine where they are controlled from. It's important to recognize that IP attribution alone is not conclusive. Attackers frequently use compromised devices, VPNs, or proxy networks to obfuscate their true origin. And so this was an issue. And multiple researchers told Wired that they observed 5 distinct attacks of varying length against X's infrastructure. So DDoS attacks are very common. The botnet was directly attacking the IP and a bunch more on the X subnet. And it's a botnet of cameras and DVRs. And a few hours after the final attack concluded, Musk told Fox Business, Larry Kudlow, in an interview, quote, "We're not sure exactly what happened, but there was a massive cyber attack to try to bring down the X system with IP addresses originating in the Ukraine area." Musk has mocked the Ukraine and its president, Vladimir Zelensky, repeatedly since Russia invaded its neighbor in February 2022, a major campaign donor to President Donald Trump. And Musk now heads the so-called Department of Government Efficiency, which is DOGE, which has raised the U.S. federal government and its workforce in the weeks since Trump's inauguration. So we really don't have a truth. It looks like it came from the UK, but we're going to have to just see what's actually going on. All right. A very, very sneaky thing. And apparently Elon has a lot of people that do not like him. I'm sure that's not a surprise. Well, it's all about the Trump versus the Musk feud. Yes, the Tesla feud escalates at the White House recently. In a surprising little twist, former President, well, now President Trump has expressed he was formerly a president and he was, let's say, annoyed back then with frustration. He's got even more frustration with Elon Musk over the EV tax credit changes and is reportedly considering selling the Tesla he showcased on the White House lawn. This personal and political rivalry adds new drama to the intersection of government policy and tech industry influence. This is becoming more than just an issue, it's becoming personal. Ugh. So, again, this is going to be interesting, and Trump is now reportedly considering selling the car. This is according to CBS, and BBC correspondent Gary O'Donoghue visited the White House recently and seeing the parking lot to investigate the car's current status, highlighting how the Trump-Musk feud is unfolding, both politically, and it's getting very, very personal, and it's getting hot very, very fast. Well, inside Europe's coolest supercomputer, literally, a state-of-the-art computer in Lugano, Switzerland, is pushing the boundaries of high-performance computing, featuring advanced liquid cooling to prevent overheating. Now, this machine plays a critical role in climate science, medicine, and AI research, highlighting how infrastructure innovation supports breakthrough discoveries. So I think that's a pretty cool thing, guys, what they're doing there. And this cutting-edge machine, it's part of the next generation of high-performance computing, which is going to hopefully keep them cool, because the more that we use AI, right, the more that we have to rely on a cooling technology. People say to me, how much heat does an AI data center generate? Well, that's a loaded question. Servers and data centers generate lots of heat. AI that are predicted to generate between, you ready, guys, 5 to 10 times as much heat as a regular server that does not run AI. And story number 12. Meta sues over, apps that are, let's say, removing clothes of people in that, and the harmful ads that are still remaining. So Meta is taking legal action against the creators of these apps that are doing this and generating the fake non-clothed individuals without consent. But critics say thousands of exploitive ads still circulate on their platforms. And the controversy underscores ongoing challenges in regulating AI abuse and protecting vulnerable users online. So that's a problem. So Meta pressed now, with all this going on, to tighten the crackdown on these apps that supposedly remove people's clothes in them. And as I said, Meta has sued the company behind Crush AI, which runs AI-powered clothing removal apps that generate fake clothing removal images without any consent, in a move to stop it from advertising on its platforms, despite this legal action and Meta's new technologies to detect such harmful ads. Even without visible clothing removed, experts and watchdogs say the crackdown is far from enough, and researchers have found thousands of these type of apps still live on Meta's platforms, prompting calls for stronger monitoring and government intervention. Child safety advocates warn these tools are being weaponized to exploit minors, causing severe emotional harm. In response, Meta has started sharing banned URLs with other tech firms and vowed continual legal action. But critics argue more aggressive steps are urgently needed to curb the abuse of generative AI for creating these non-consensual images and illegal content. So yes, they can all say these things, but until somebody gets fined, until an example, it's not nice to say, but until an example is made, this is going to continue on and on and on and on. All right. Really something interesting, guys. All right. I think sometimes people don't understand what this is about. Okay. And I feel that if you don't get a handle of what's going on, like with these apps, you can say anything you want. But if you don't have transparency and you don't have a way to resolve things, it's like they just happen and people just ignore them. Until something legal, until somebody starts to sue, we're going to still see these problems. And our 13th story is all about Harvard. Yes, Harvard gives their first library card to AI, giving it access to 1 million books so it can go digital. Harvard University and other libraries are digitizing over 1 million public domain books to provide ethical, diverse training data for AI development. Now, this initiative aims to counter the legal and, of course, the moral issues of scraping copyrighted content, fostering more responsible AI training grounded in historical knowledge. But I think there's a lot more that has to take place than just this. I mean, I think we need to figure out like what's happening, why it's happening, and what are we going to do about it? Because the thing is, if we say that we're doing these ethical things, but who's going to check to make sure that these universities are actually publishing only public domain information? Who? Right? I see this as a problem. And I know you're probably saying to me, John, we're blowing this out of proportion. No, we're not. Because you see, if we don't blow this out of proportion now, if we don't get involved, if we don't take action now and be proactive, we're going to have to get reactive. That's more expensive. And sometimes being reactive doesn't always solve the problem. It causes more damage, right? Let's take a fire, for example. When a fire happens and you're proactive and you have let's say a fire extinguisher and you're ready, or you have smoke systems and let's say suppression water, there's a good chance the fire is going to go out and you'll be okay. If you don't have those and now you got to go get something, then there could be more damage, right? That could be a really, really serious problem. So we will keep you in the loop about that. And number 14, guys, yes, retail cyber attacks explode. Empty shelves, stolen data, cyber attacks on major retailers like Marks and Spencer, United Natural Foods, and Adidas have caused system shutdowns, product shortages, and exposed customer data, some more than once. This wave of ransomware and breaches that is kind of permeating our world is signaling a growing cybersecurity crisis, threatening kind of technological pandemic on the global retail supply chains and consumer trust. I don't know about you guys, but I think a lot of this stuff that's happening in our world today is happening because people are not following. People are just executing, but they're not following ethics of coding. Now, you might say, John, how do we make sure coders stay ethical? That's a loaded question. How do we put a trustworthy person in a military position that's ethical? That's another billion-dollar question. So when we talk about these things today, NVIDIA's, AI cloud, we talked about that today, and talking about this whole concept of, where we're going with these trends, like this chatbot library thing with the retail card, and Retail cyber attacks, they said they're surging, right? And you know, it's leaving customers with blocked orders and empty shelves and infinite amounts of frustration. This wave of cyber attacks that's disrupting major retailers worldwide, as I say, it's like a pandemic, is leaving store shelves empty. And so experts are warning that ransomware and data breaches are rising, particularly targeting well-known consumer brands to maximize chaos and ransom leverage. Beyond halting operations, these attacks expose personal data, prompting warnings about phishing and credential theft. Companies like Victoria's Secrets are even joining the teams. Adidas and the North Face got hit recently, also reporting these breaches, highlighting the growing risk and the need for stronger cybersecurity across retail. I've always said, guys, it's not a question of if you're going to get attacked, but when, if you're not properly protected. And so you might say, well, I spent all this money 5 years ago. I got the best firewall. I've got news for you guys, and I know you're not going to like to hear this. How often should your cyber security get updated? I know that's a loaded question. As soon as patches are released, how about your cyber hardware? A little bit different. I generally recommend anywhere from 4 to 5 years. Okay, 3 to 5 is good. 4 to 5 is the end, no more than 5, because the generation, the technology, the type of processor, we know that as we change algorithms and we're doing more to detect things with patterning and whatnot, it's taking more resources. So it takes more resources. Guess what we need to do? We need to have more resources. We need to have a more powerful processor. We need to have more memory, right? More storage. We need to be able to handle more bandwidth. We need to make sure that our solutions are not going to be exploited. But we all know that a lot of this technology is based around open technology. And you can't lock open technology down. We can detect it, we can manage it and all this stuff, but we have to stay very aware and alert of what's going on. Because if we stay aware and alert, then we are going to be, my friends, we're going to be proactive. We're going to be proactive. I know you're saying to me, John, like, I put the best technology that money can buy in. I'm sure you have. Maybe you spent $50,000 or $1 million. But that doesn't mean that the technology tomorrow is going to be any good. I'll give you a perfect example, and I don't want to give you the total example because it's a security example. But there's one particular piece of hardware that's used in data centers, and it can get hacked about every 3 years if it's not replaced. There is actually a national association that has a certain hacking convention for this particular device. I'm not going to tell you what it is. And so the technology, the brains behind this needs to get upgraded every single year. I'm not talking about a firewall. It might say, well, John, that's crazy. No. You see, bad actors are always trying to knock at your door, right? If they don't get in, that's great. But you know what they keep doing? They're persistent. They keep knocking on that door, hoping you're eventually going to open it. Maybe you open it by mistake. Maybe you don't open it on purpose. And so if we don't take a proactive plan to replace our technology, we're going to be up a creek. It's not a question, guys, of if you're going to get hacked, but when, if you're not properly protected. That's a real, like, crazy thing, okay? It's crazy because you have to understand what this means. And the fact that you're choosing to be proactive, guess what that means? That means that you're going to be aware of these situations. You're going to be aware of them. And so if you're aware of these situations, then when they come and hit you, you're not going to be so surprised, right? We talked about protection for malware. We talked about what sandboxing is, where you can actually put something in the sandbox when you don't think it's something you'll trust. See how it behaves in a couple hours or 24 hours. And if it doesn't behave well, then you quarantine it, and you also notify other systems in the network or that you're collaborating with to let them know that this is a bad pattern. This is something you should be aware of. Vulnerability scanning, right? Vulnerability scanning is something that people do every single day. But my feeling is if you do not patch, okay, if you do not check things, it's not a question of if you're going to get attacked, but when, if you are not properly protected. So there's something called active protection and passive protection. So passive protection is when we scan things that are on your computer and we take that passive step. Active is when we're monitoring things to see what changes as we're doing things. So with this example I used with this technology is used in not just data centers, but places around the world. And there is a national association that literally has a contest to hack this thing every 3 years. Now, the reason they do that is because they want to know what's failing with it. They want to figure out how they can make it better. And although I don't want to scare you with saying technology is bad, I want to just let you know that technology needs to be monitored. Technology needs to be updated, right? You could be talking about anything from a light bulb, a microphone, your car, your iPhone, right? We're constantly updating our iPhone, aren't we? But one of the things I don't do, guys, you know what that is I do not install my updates right away. Like right now, I'm at 18.5. I will not install 18.6 immediately. I will wait a little bit. So just kind of reminiscing a little bit, Nvidia's AI cloud revolution in Germany, I think that's going to kick ourselves in the butt, saying we better do something here in the United States. Nintendo's always been very strong. But the fact that this Switch 2 is redefining gaming, that's pretty hot. And what's going on with the Supreme Court, I am very disgusted with that. Several people on social media that saw we do the reels starting with Monday. And then, so just so you know, we do this. We put reels out every single day. We put 2 reels out every day. So we do 14 a week. So this whole show ends today on Friday, but we still have 1 more reel tonight, and then we have 2 more reels on Saturday, 2 more reels on Sunday, which I've already covered here. But every day I give you like a little bird's eye view of like what we're going to be talking about. Then on the show, of course, I can cover it more. A lot of you are saying, well, John, people already have the information. So if you already think people have it and you don't want to protect it, well, that's a bad attitude. And I got to say kudos to Disney and also to Universal for going after Midjourney. Now, you might want to know something, and I think this is a very important thing to know. Who owns Midjourney? So it's an independent research lab with David Holtz as its founder. And so Midjourney is founded by what they call Leap Motion. It's generative intelligence. So you might be wondering, who owns and where are they located? So Midjourney is an independent research lab. They call it Midjourney Inc. It was founded by David Holtz. It's located in San Francisco, California. They're currently on the Gateway Boulevard in South San Francisco. And so my problem is Midjourney and data privacy. And so do they use your data? Yep, they'll retain and use your personal data to the extent necessary to comply with only legal obligations. Now, that's what they say. I'm not crazy with how their software is working. That's just my thing. And the fact that they have done stuff like this, and the fact that they're trying to say that they're not really responsible, well, that makes me not want to work with them. And this whole concept of this new date-based browser history thing, I think that's ludicrous. I think that's really getting into people's private life, and that's something no one belongs into without permission. Even though if you upload the stuff, who's to say that it's only going to be on this site? Who's to say that they don't sell it to a third-party company? Don't be surprised. The thing with Ross Minor and his gaming excellence and consulting is amazing. What Google is doing, they're just trying to stay afloat because they're just trying to see. They know they're going to get pounded. They just don't know how much. So they're trying to survive. And Elon Musk is having some issues. Trump and Musk and their feud. My question is, and this is a very good question, and this is something I want to know from you guys, is the feud between Trump and Musk real or fake? Good question, right? Trump says Musk will face serious consequences. But is Trump going to change his way? I don't know. I first thought this might have just been a staging, right? I'm not sure. And Europe is doing some great things with keeping things cool. I've got to hand it to them there. And Meta, I've got to tell you, for you going after these people creating these apps, what you say sounds great. My question is, are you really doing what you say, or are you just trying to do this to get like some good PR for yourself? And Harvard, kudos to you and other libraries, but how are you tracking to make sure this data doesn't get exploited? And how are you making sure that the data being uploaded is actually ethical? Is it being done by certain people? Is it being done by grad students? Is it being done by students? And how are you holding them accountable, right? So we talked about a lot today, from the AI battles to game-changing tech. We gave you a very big dosage of innovation and impact. And we gave you some interesting tech bites here. We shared some cybersecurity knowledge. I gave you some direction of where Apple's going in their rival a little bit of trying to compete with Meta's glasses. So it's going to be very interesting, what's happening. But at the end of the day, I think it comes down to what products, what services, and how are these developers protecting our own well-being? I mean, how are they doing it? Are they saying they're doing it, but they're really not? I mean, I think that's a very, very big issue. So again, we laugh about the fact that AI gets a library card, but are we really monitoring that? I hope you guys have a fantastic evening. Do check out believemeachieve.com for more of my amazing, inspiring creations. And I'll catch you guys next week on the JMOR Tech Talk Show.